Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Tonight we're playing a short game. The name of this scenario is The Relocation of Cottonmouth Springs. It was written by Matt Ryan and Noah Lloyd, and it's available on the Reckoning of the Dead website. I'm your GM, and we will call this version 1 in case we run it again. So without any further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. I didn't actually write an intro. I'll just tell you what's up. You are traveling through Cottonmouth Springs Valley. There are two dams at the moment. There is the Old North Dam, which is on the verge of being demolished. And there is the South Dam, which is just about finished being built. In 7 days, they are going to demolish the Old North Dam. This is just a crude drawing of the entire valley and the farms as they're divided up around the thing. So you can see Cottonmouth Springs sits right about in the middle. There's not much to it. So you are at the moment pulling into Cottonmouth Springs from the left side of your screen. And the first thing you see to your left is the Rowland Family Hotel. The mayor's house is number 5. The sheriff's office is number 2. The courthouse is number 3, where they keep all of the records. The town hall, number 4. The general store, Fonsant's General Store, is number 6. And there's church, number 7. What would you like to do? And this is just a typical desert sort of community. The farms are mostly at the moment kind of fallow or grass and or growing alfalfa. The weather is hot. It's summer.
Well, we're expecting to be here at least a little while, aren't we?
Yes, and you do have a meeting with the mayor.
When is the meeting with the mayor?
Whenever you arrive. This is 1944, by the way, 1944, High Desert, California.
Well, what time of day is it now?
I will say it's around 10 in the morning.
Well, do we have time to check in at the hotel before the meeting?
You can do that, sure.
All right, just make sure that we get the cheapest rooms available. Don't want to be wasting any money.
It's a little 2-story hotel. Not much to it.
I think I can get us a good deal. So, yeah, I'll go see what they have available.
Okay, so you pull up in front of the hotel, and you walk in the front door. There's a little counter there, and there is a man and a woman behind the counter. They're not really dressed formally. She's waxing down the top of the thing, and he's doing something, and he looks up and he says, some guests. Can I help you?
Yes, good morning. I'd like 4 rooms.
4 rooms? Let's see. Sure. And names?
I'm Archie Calvert. I've got E. William Whitaker, Marty Howard, and Jim Coleman.
Whitworth, fellow, Whitworth.
All right. And you two?
I'm Marty. Nice to meet you.
I'll need your see your IDs, and we'll get you all set. So
thank you very much.
Let's see. Mr. Calvert, you're going to be in room 1. Mr. Whitworth, you're going to be in number 2. Mr. Coleman, you're going to be in 3. And Mr. Howard, you're going to be in 4. My name is Andrew Rowland, and this is my wife, Sarah.
Hi, Andrew. Nice to meet you, ma'am.
She says, I'm glad you're here. Can we ask what you're in town for?
Oh, I'm so glad that you asked. Mr. Whitworth, do you want to tell them now, or do you want to tell them later?
Well, I think it's only fair to start off as we mean to go on. We're in town to to exercise the federal government's constitutional rights under the Fifth Amendment to eminent domain. That is to say, we're here to buy up your town, sir.
Buy up the town.
Yes, within a week's time, this is all going to be a great big new dam. It's all going to be underwater. Have you not been told about this?
What are you talking about?
Well, I believe I just told you so. Yeah, we're here to purchase your properties, to compensate you and help you to move out.
Yeah, if you come back here in about a week's time, you'll be underwater. So
you all must.
He looks extremely distressed.
You all must be familiar with the new dam, right?
Tom, what's the nearest large town to here?
Probably the nearest big town will be San Francisco, or San Damiel.
Well, I mean, if you'd been to the documents have been on display in the planning office in San Damiel for nigh on 7 months now, sir.
Yeah, you have to take an interest in local affairs.
But nobody's ever discussed any of this with us.
Well, we're here now.
And we're very sorry that no one was able to come in our role sooner. You see, it takes a while for you know how it is with the state government to get the necessary funding. But
and what with the war and so forth.
His wife comes over and they're like holding each other like this, staring at you, just dumbfounded.
Well, now, folks, don't be concerned. We have plenty of funding from the state government to get you all excellent new properties elsewhere.
Have you talked to the mayor about this?
We're going to meet with him over lunch. We just thought we'd get settled in first.
Yeah, we just thought it was seeing we're staying at your hotel. We thought it would be the decent thing to do to appraise you, good folk, of why we're here. This is really, if you think about it, this is a wonderful opportunity for you.
Yes, new locations, new sites. Jim, while we're waiting for lunch,
pastures.
Yeah, Jim is looking down at the ground, shaking his head slightly, saying to himself, subtle.
He grabs
really
your
subtle.
keys, and he says, well, here's your keys.
Well, thank you
very much.
Mr. Whitaker's right. You know, you must be fairly important people in this town and well informed. You must get travelers from other places. Is there anywhere that you think you might find to be a good location for a new hotel? Because we're here to help make that happen.
I'm sure.
He looks.
I'm told Humboldt County's on the up.
At this point, the more you're talking to him, the more skittish. I mean, he looks absolutely fucking terrified. Like he's trying to figure out exactly what you're telling them, that they're going to have to leave.
So I'm approaching both, and I'm kind of tapping the lady on her hand. I'm saying, take a seat, sir. I'll make sure you get as good a price as we can give you.
I'm just going to whisper in Mr. Coleman's ear. Just start off offering 50% to start, and then we'll work up to 60. That way they'll think they're getting a good deal.
I will offer them something later, sir. I think they need a little bit of time. Let's go see the mayor before we start telling everybody else what we're doing.
Well, that sounds like a good idea.
But I don't know how to respond to this.
Well, you'll have some time to think it over. I'm mostly here to be sure you understand other options and hopefully help you get an excellent loan for another property.
Do you?
Somewhere quite profitable, I hope.
I might need to freshen myself up.
You
It's,
do you need help carrying your stuff up to the rooms?
Oh well, thank you for offering. I think I can handle
Kyle,
it.
John. Like this.
Oh.
And after a couple of seconds, a couple of young guys come around the corner. Now, you definitely see family resemblance. Old. I mean, he's not that old. I'd say that the proprietors are probably in their maybe 40s. These two kids look like they're maybe late teens. Maybe 18 at the most. He's kind of buck toothed, and they got blonde hair, and they're all kind of ugly. Just in general, kind of country bumpkin ugly. No offense to any country bumpkins out there, but
thank you.
it's country bumpkin ugly. And
say, be careful with that luggage there, boy. That's fine Italian leather.
The boys even more so.
Hey, good morning, boys. Thank you for your help. I think I've got mine. It sounds like Mr. Whitworth needs some extra care with his.
So they help you take your stuff up to your rooms on the one level up. I'd like you all to do a listen roll.
Yes.
I pass.
Okay.
Barely.
The rooms in the hotel are fairly small. There's not much to them. They do have bathrooms, but the walls are pretty thin. And as you're just sort of putting your stuff away, you can hear Mr. Rowland downstairs talking on the phone.
What is he saying on the phone?
Well, you're hearing some mumbling, but it's and they say they're here to buy up the whole town.
Yeah, I figured I kind of just say to myself, yeah, we are going to buy up the whole town. I mean, trying to.
So you can hear he's calling people.
Well, it's all well and good. They can make preparations to leave. Yay. Get out of here early.
So you are you get all your stuff put away, and you're probably, the next step would be to go talk to the mayor.
Yeah, but I think we want to get our stuff away quickly and down to the mayor.
Okay.
Yes. I'll grab my attaché case with my paperwork.
Okay.
Yeah, so I get a change of clothes. I have the same. I assume I also have some, maybe some notes about deals available on properties elsewhere, places we can, recommend to the people for their relocation.
Okay. When I'll just add one thing. As you go back down the stairs and you head out, Mr. Rowland and his wife and the two boys and three other little children are all kind of standing over behind the desk staring at you in
Hi, kids.
terror. And the kids are all, kind of holding on to mom and dad. And they're just completely terrified. It looks like.
I'm just going to completely ignore them and walk out.
Well, I'm gonna turn and I'm gonna point to him like, hey, when I get back, it'd be much easier if you just had your tax records prepared for me to review. That'd be excellent. Thank you.
Don't stress too much about that, folks. You still have a bit of time. We're off to see the mayor now, but when we do come back, well, why don't you start thinking about where you might like to have your new hotel?
I'm going to wander back in. This time I'm fishing around in my attaché case and take out a piece of paper and hand it to them and say, I forgot to give you this, sir. This is your notice of government condemnation.
Oh, this is great. So, Jim's got a business card and he's just writing a little note on the back. Don't worry, I'll talk to you later. And I'll just pass that over to the owner. Yeah.
So it's not far. It's just down the street and around the corner to get to where the mayor's house is. And as you are traveling down this street, you could probably just walk it because it's probably no more than 100 feet, maybe 200 feet. You definitely notice people staring at you out the windows. Okay.
Good Lord. Is that a court? Is that a courthouse they've got there? Why would a town this size need a courthouse like that? That's completely unnecessary.
It's not that big.
Mr. Whitworth, are you always as subtle as this when you go into town?
Look, this is just my job. If I take pleasure from anything, it's from spending the money, not from earning it.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's even subtler when when he's in a good mood.
Listen,
Righty W.
Yeah, well, if you'd had to put up with the abuse I've had from doing this job, you'd realize exactly why I try and get everything done as quickly as possible.
Well, why do you think I carry this beauty with me everywhere I go?
Well, I think you two just answered why they need a courthouse even in a town this size.
Well, I mean, something you got to understand. Is your name Archie? Archie's son?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You understand Uncle Sam always gets his cut, right?
There's nothing they're going to be able to do to offset this. I can guarantee you, sir, that the state legislature will not stay the condemnation, even if they bring a counter case against us. The dam will still go ahead. They might be able to increase the amount of compensation they get by a fraction, but that's the best they can hope for.
Well, it's not the dam that I'm concerned about at the moment. It's us getting lynched before we actually speak to the mayor.
Well, luckily, Marty and Uncle Sam always have their gun too, right, Marty?
Yeah, we always have our gun, and we always get our cut. We always remember those two things. I'm here to get the cut. The guns are coming in 5 days, so they can choose who they want to deal with.
All right, so you're actually not too surprised that as you come around the corner of the building and the mayor's house comes into view, the mayor and his wife and his children are all like on the front porch of the house looking to see when you come. And once they see you see the mayor kind of shush the children to go back inside. And
how many children?
Oh, maybe 5.
Well, there's little else to do out here in the countryside, is there?
And he looks rather concerned. Now, the mayor himself, he looks like he's maybe 60 or so years old. He's around Coleman's age. And his wife is about the same. And he's got his arms folded and a look of concern, anger. You're not quite sure what it is.
Do we already know the mayor's name? Or do we just know he's the mayor?
You know that it's Mayor Thompson. Gentlemen, please come inside.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Thompson, and good morning to you. I think we have all the information you and your people will need to get organized.
This is the moment. This is my wife, Anne.
Nice to meet you, ma'am. Good morning.
He's like standing right next to him, clinging on to him at this point. And he says, please come in and sit down. Make yourselves at home. Now, what is this I hear? I was expecting a meeting with you this morning, but I didn't know why. What is this I hear about you buying up the town?
Well,
yeah, we were very sorry to learn that you and your town had not been fully informed about the construction of the new dam. Is that right? Or are you familiar with the new dam?
Well, we knew they were building something down there. We didn't know exactly what it was, and we had no idea. Nobody ever said that they were going to do anything with our town.
Oh yeah.
We're rather
Well,
fond of it.
they're
I
not.
wish that you had come to me first. I'm sure that half the town is aware of it, and I know they're not going to take this very well at all.
Well, nobody ever does, but
Yes, but you have to. I understand, you're not politicians, but you have to handle some of these things delicately.
you don't have to worry about it. You won't be up for re-election. I assure you, the town won't be here.
We're talking about people's lives here, sir.
Excuse me. I do agree with you, Mayor Thompson. And Jim reaches to shake his hand. I'm here to appraise the property for everybody and give them as good a deal as possible. Yourself included. So yes, I believe you're right. We should have spoken to you immediately.
Yes, I agree with Mr. Coleman, and after he's finished appraising and making sure that you get excellent compensation, I'm here to help you identify suitable new properties, make sure that you get the best possible loans if necessary. This may be an opportunity for not only yourself, but a lot of people here at Cottonmouth.
I have to explain to you, this is rather overwhelming. What sort of timetable are we looking at?
Well, in
About a week.
in 5 days.
A week?
No. In 5 days, the National Guard will show up. So that way, in 6 days, in 6 days, the National Guard will show up.
Yeah.
So that way, in 7 days, this will all be underwater.
Oh my!
Yeah, that's right. You see, we think that probably the reason you weren't more quickly informed is because there was not originally any intention to require the properties here in the town. It was somewhat belatedly calculated that when the North Dam is demolished, there will be flooding, considerable flooding. Now this will mostly affect the farmland, and that's why the farmers will need to be relocated, but it will also affect the town.
You say considerable flooding. If they demolish that dam, this whole valley is going to fill up with water.
That's exactly right.
The idea.
And you, well, so you're not shocked to know that that would be the consequence.
And you're telling me there's not really anything we can do about it.
Right.
Then it's a matter of how we handle this.
Now, may I ask, Mr. Mayor, what is your current population here?
I'd say we have about 18 farms. Not exactly sure of the population. They're all families.
Do you know everyone in town rather well?
Yes, pretty well, pretty much.
Just how attached to the roots here in the town are the people? Do you know of anyone who will be particularly dismayed to be relocated?
I don't know of anybody that's not going to be.
Oh, I see. That's is certainly a concern.
We work very hard, in this place to make a living, and this is where our homes are. This is going to be very difficult indeed.
Well, I am truly sorry, Mr. Mayor. We all are.
Well, how much are you offering? I mean, I own 700 acres.
Well,
I just pat Jim on the shoulder.
that's going to be Mr. Coleman's area of expertise.
Well, one thing I do have for you, sir, I have a condemnation order for your house and land. I also have condemnation orders for the town hall and the courthouse, which I imagine I'll be serving to you. Now, of course, there'll be no compensation for them because they are state properties. So they've already been assessed and rectified with the appropriate department.
Yes, fine.
But my colleague here will appraise your land, and then we will offer you adequate compensation in line with your Fifth Amendment rights.
What exactly is adequate compensation?
The value of the land as my associate sees fit.
And that would be you, Mr. Coleman.
Yeah. Can I just ask Tom? Was it 65,000? We've got. What was the figure
You have
again?
650,000.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, I think Mr. Mayor, we're looking at about 42,000 for your property.
42,000 for my property.
Yeah.
My house and everything.
Unfortunately, because the government is buying up the whole area, you won't get 100% really of the price. It's very unfortunate, but that's probably about as good as we can give you.
What am I going to do with $40,000?
Well, Mr. Mayor, that's partly what I'm here for. You said you have 700 acres here?
I have 700 acres, sir.
Well, in the longer term, were you eventually hoping to have more acres? Were you hoping to develop the properties? Were you?
There are no more acres. This is farmland, and it's pretty much roped in on all sides by the mountains. So.
Well, that's what I thought. So, if you're going to consider somewhere to relocate, are you interested in a place that might have more possibility for expansion or development?
I don't know. I don't know at this point. I got to tell you, quite honestly, by now you start to hear noise outside. Okay. And he looks at his wife, who's been standing there next to him, and he says, go see what that sound is. And
I was going to suggest, sir, that you maybe arrange a public meeting, but I think that might already be happening.
I think we most definitely around the corner at the town hall. Just a moment, please. And he gets up and goes over to his wife, and they both walk over to the window and they look at him. Jesus Christ!
As he's doing that, I'm going to whisper to Jim, "You offered him too much."
So he's going to go. He leaves the room with his wife for a few minutes, and you hear him suddenly outside on the front porch. Now listen up here, folks. I know what you've been hearing. Let's call a town meeting. Let's set that town meeting for about an hour and a half from now. You go ahead and call your families and friends from the farms all around, and we'll have a discussion about this. And you hear questions. Is it true they're going to buy up the place? We don't want to leave. No. This is our land, our house. So he comes back in, and he's kind of white and red, and he's like, "This is going to be quite a hornet's nest, I'm afraid." But I think that you're going to probably end up having to go out to all these farms and assess each one of them. And
that was our intention.
I'll go with you because
that would be greatly
we can keep you out of trouble.
Yeah, thank you. We're sure that'll be very helpful.
This isn't going to take place in one night. Are you staying in town?
Just over the hotel.
Over Roland's, okay.
Now, may I ask a question, please? We on the local map of this area, we're showing a Church of Telluris Matris Nostrae. Now,
it's down the street.
That is a little bit rusty, but is that the Church of Mother Earth? I believe
it's Our Lady of the Earth. Yeah.
Lady of the Earth.
That's
now
Pastor John and Dorothy's Myers.
I see. Right. Now the question was to whom we would serve that notice of condemnation, but you appear to have answered that question.
Oh, I hate it when you say it like that, but that's John and Dorothy Mears. Mears is their last name. Pastor Mears.
Pastor Mears. What denomination is that?
I don't know. I don't know what you mean denomination.
Well, what kind of, is it a Unitarian?
It's just a church. It's just a church.
Well, do you think they might be helpful in settling people's minds?
Well, I don't know. Pastor John probably has the least amount of land. Obviously, he's not a farmer.
But I mean, does everyone attend the church?
Yes.
So he must be fairly close to people of the town. Maybe he'll be able to quieten their spirits a bit and settle their minds. We really are very sorry if this causes alarm, but I can assure you I've come well prepared to offer everyone involved excellent and fair loans and opportunities wherever they may be interested in relocating, whether maybe some of them wish to remain neighbors and perhaps collaborate on property, or
this is a lot
go somewhere
to,
they've always wanted to go.
yes, this is a lot to process at the moment.
Of course, we understand. Maybe do you need a bit of time to?
We're going to have a town meeting. I'm sorry. I'd like our hospitality to be as nice as possible for you. I realize this is.
Well, they're very kind over at the hotel so far.
But yeah, this is going to cause some serious disturbances. We're going to have to really smooth this over with some of these families. I mean, they're not going to want to move.
Why don't we go talk to the pastor? Does he and his wife actually live over at the church?
Well, yes, they do. But why don't we just wait until the town meeting, and then we can clear all this up with everybody? Right now, there's a rumor mill going around town that.
Well, if you
as
prefer,
I say, I wish you had told me first, and not just let it leak into the whole town. By now, because you're not there to tell them what the truth is, so they're thinking that you're going to drive them off their land with pitchforks or military.
No, nothing like that. And like we said, the state's interest wasn't in this property, well, honestly, Mr. Mayor, we're not sure why it wasn't determined sooner that the valley would be flooded.
Well,
but
let's discuss all this at the town meeting.
Is there anything that we can tell you personally that would be of assistance in preparing for the meeting?
I'm not so sure if you're going to offer them. What did you say, 40,000?
Yep.
Yeah, 40 to 42.
That's barely what the land is worth.
Unfortunately, we have a certain amount of funds for the whole area.
Well, then it sounds like the most important thing will be people knowing what opportunities they have for other properties elsewhere that might be not only currently affordable, but likely to appreciate value.
You're talking about 8,750 acres in this valley. You're talking about 13 and a half square miles of valley. That's math beyond me, but I'll call the sheriff. I'll make sure that they help you to make sure that you're safe. But sheriff's not going to be happy either. He's got about 46 acres.
Oh, I believe, yes, there's sheriff's office as well as state property. So,
well, the office is, but his personal property is not yours, sir.
No.
Before we get ready for the meeting, can you tell us? Of course, I know this will be Mr. Coleman's expertise, but are you aware of any properties that are particularly unusual in their value? Any specifics we should be aware of?
It's just farmland.
Yes, and can you tell me where where your tax records are stored?
They're stored in the courthouse over there.
Excellent, thank you.
All the county records, the assessments, and everything should be there already.
Well, thank you again, Mr. Mayor. I can tell you what I'm going to be doing before the meeting is heading back on over to the hotel and starting to make some calls to some lenders and maybe have some information prepared for people.
It's our tradition that they'll ring the bell. So when you hear the bell ring, that's when the meetings.
All right. Just
meeting order.
Just let me know because you're of course the first person we've spoken to at length. I know you yourself may need more time to think it over, but are you expecting to want to acquire comparable property elsewhere, a similar amount of acres?
I can't even think about that right now, sir.
Well, I'll just get as much general information as I can for you and have it ready for the meeting. So
anyways, we'll assume then that you leave there and you guys go back to the hotel, or do you want to do anything else?
Well, I want to get the tax records because I want to discover if anybody is perhaps not been paying their property tax. So then kicking them out will be a lot easier.
Okay.
And I do, like I said, I go back to the hotel and I start organizing the information. And now that I have some idea of what Mr. Coleman's planning to offer everybody, I'm going to see if maybe I have, some contacts at some banks, try to get a sense of how I could get at least some of these people a favorable deal that they could afford, maybe in a comparable area where property values might go up to later compensate them for getting such a terrible deal right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whitworth and Coleman, what are you going to do?
I think
sorry.
On you go. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, how long have we got until this town meeting?
About an hour and 15 minutes or so.
Well, I might just take a stroll around and work out which of these condemnation notices attaches to which house.
Okay.
And I don't want anything to do with that, and I'll be heading back to the hotel. I think what I want to do is speak to Mr. and Mrs. Rowland and try and begin to have a little bit more of a sympathetic response, because I know that this meeting is going to be pretty rough, and give them some assurances that I'll look after them as best I can, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, if I run into them, I also would want to know. I'll ask them something similar to what I asked the mayor, in case they tell me anything that would give me an idea of what would be useful to them. My hope is that at least one person can feel like I'm doing something helpful for them, and then maybe the word will spread.
So the two of you go back to, I'm pointing at the screen. The two of you go back to the hotel, and Marty Howard, you end up going over to the courthouse. And you walk inside, and it's very much like a country courthouse. There are 4 people inside, 2 men and 2 women. They are working behind desks. All 4 of them, almost in unison, when you walk in the door, they all look up at you. And each of the men turns to each of the women and just sort of is like, I think that's them. I think that's one of them.
Can one of you point me to your tax records, please?
And one of the gentlemen stands up and he says, my name is Spencer Sample, and this is my wife, Piety.
Nice to meet you.
What sort of records are you looking for?
Property taxes.
And he says, property taxes on various things. Well, I can show you where those are.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
You'll come with me. And he and his wife, they sort of escort you down a hallway and into a room where there's a bunch of filing cabinets and things like that. And he's like, you should be able to find anything that you need here, sir.
No, thank you.
I don't know if you've got psychology. Do a psychology roll.
Yeah, no, that's a fail.
Okay. Well, it doesn't take a lot to assess that they're rather they know who you are and they're being icy, but
Yeah.
they're being compliant because that's the law.
Mhm.
Okay.
I like it when people are compliant. And then I'm going to
And
go.
they don't leave. They both stand there sort of in the back and they watch you.
So I'm just going to go filter through some records. Can I make an accounting test? I just once again, I only have like an hour, so
Sure.
I can't do a deep dive. I
Right.
want to just see who is behind on their taxes so we can pay them less. Okay. That says 16.
Okay.
That's going to be a hard success, almost.
Okay. Just at a glance, I mean, you notice a few people that are maybe a little off on their taxes now and then, but it's nothing malicious. It's probably more mistakes than anything else, but most of them, 95% of the things that you find, everything is correct, and they pay their taxes.
Okay. I'm just going to make a mark of the of who are the people who are off.
Right.
Just so when we encounter them later, we can adjust their compensation accordingly.
Ah, okay. And the guy, Spencer, he says, Spencer Sample, he says, so I heard there was a town meeting. It's already around town that you guys are going to chase us all off our land.
Oh, we're not the ones doing the chasing. You see, we're here to make sure that those who are cooperative get compensated. The National Guard who will be showing up, they're the ones who will do the chasing if that comes to that.
And they sort of look at each other and
Just being honest, folks.
they just clam up and they look at each other a couple times and they're a little angry looking and a little upset, obviously.
Well, I mean, we're not going to listen. Just trying to help you, right? I mean, I'm sure you don't have scuba equipment in your house, so when this is several feet underwater, it's going to be quite difficult to live here. So we're just trying to help you out.
Underwater.
Oh, yes, they're moving the dam further south, and when they blow up the old dam, all water's got to come somewhere, and it's going to come here.
They suddenly look at each other once again, quite terrified. But try to. She sort of assures him, and he pulls himself together. And well, is there anything else you need, sir?
Oh no, this is fine.
All
Thank
right.
you.
And that took you maybe half an hour or
Yeah.
so to look at. Let's see. Edie, Doctor, EW. You're walking around town and
Yes, sir.
you see the church, you see the general store, you see the sheriff's office. There's not too much more. There's a town hall, and you see people are starting to make their way, and they're all talking to one another, and they're all in groups of. It looks like everybody is familiar with. Everybody knows everybody in this little town. Cars are pulling into town from off the little roads leading into town, and trucks and things like that. And whole families are getting out. Wife, husband, 5 or 6, 7 or 8 kids. Lots of people are showing up. Is there anything in particular you wanted to look at when you were walking around town?
Well, no, I'm just mainly interested in sort of being able to associate each one of the notices I have with the relevant property.
Okay.
So that after the meeting, I can get around to doing that. I will try as best I can to avoid the almost overwhelming compulsion to start dishing out the notices during the town meeting. But I think it's best done at the property itself, really.
Okay. Go ahead and do a spot hidden.
94. Oh, I seem to have something in my eye.
No. Yeah, you don't see anything unusual about anything. All right. So, Archie, you get back to the hotel along with Jim, and as you're walking in, the family has the Rolands have kind of gone back to what they were doing. But as soon as you walk through the door, they sort of huddle together again and watch you. So there's a town meeting.
Yes, that's right. The mayor said in about an hour and a half. Have you given any thought to what you might like to do, Mr. Roland? I'm going to go make some calls to some contacts, banks, lenders. I'm going to get as much information as possible, but since you've been so gracious and you were the first person we spoke to, I'm just wondering if there's anything in particular I can look into for you.
Have you
starting
eaten?
right now?
Have you eaten?
Well, no, we haven't. Thank you for asking.
I'll have them bring you up some food.
Well, thank you so much. Well, that's really very kind of you. And yeah, give it some thought. I'll be making those calls while I eat. And if you think of anything, you just come on up. Let me know.
All right.
Thank you again.
Jim, you were going to talk to them, Mr. Coleman?
Yeah. I think Jim is wanting to bring a little bit, fraction of reassurance, So he says to, is it Andrew and Sarah?
Yeah.
He says, now, Andrew and Sarah, I'm going to look after you as best I can. And I want you to, I know it's very disturbing, and I know the way the other gentleman spoke to you when we first came in must have been very upsetting, but I'm the guy that's going to be appraising the properties and especially going out to the farms, and I'll get you as good a price as I can.
Well, I own... I don't own a lot of land. I own about 14 acres, but I own the hotel, and we've got kids. So where are we supposed to go?
Well, I think my colleague you just spoke to, I think he's going to maybe help and advise of other districts that are maybe not far away.
I don't trust him. He doesn't look like a family man. Are you a family man?
Yes, I am, son. I am. I've got 3 children.
Oh,
all grown up, though. All grown up.
That's wonderful. They got children? Yeah?
Yeah, we've got 1 little grandchild.
That's... See, I trust you because of that. And you know what it's like. You know what it's like to be a family. And geez, I really don't want to leave. This is the place I've lived my whole life.
I know. Well, as far as I understand, the dam that they're demolishing for the new dam, it's maybe unsafe. So it's one of these things that it's going to happen. So the government are taking it in hand rather than letting it happen by accident and causing a tragedy.
How are they going to get rid of it? How are they going to demolish it?
Well, I guess they'll detonate the old dam and let this area will be flooded. This area will be underwater, So it wouldn't be, in one sense, as traumatic as this must be for you and your family. It may save. Jim's really beginning to just fly through his teeth because he's not actually sure of everything that's going on, but he's just trying his best to reassure them that it may avoid a tragedy in the future, and we certainly wouldn't want that for your family and your property. So,
do a spot hidden, Mr. Coleman.
Oh, fail.
Okay. You don't notice anything, but he's still upset, but you've calmed him down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He says, well, I guess we'll all talk about that at the meeting.
Sure, and there's not that long to go, so maybe if you could get me a drink just now, I'll just take a seat over there in the lounge and
yeah, we're gonna fix you some food. I can bring some food up to you if you want to freshen up in your room.
Yeah, okay, that would be excellent.
All right.
Appreciate it.
So in fact, after a few minutes, he and his wife come up to your room. They knock on the door, and they've prepared some, I don't know, bean soup and bread. Sounds good. And whatever. He says, "I'm sorry, Mr. Coleman. We don't have alcohol in this."
That's absolutely fine. If you've got coffee or something, that's just fine.
Coffee's fine. Yeah, he brought you like some coffee or some water or whatever. All right. All right. So let's jump to the town meeting. The town meeting begins with the mayor trying to get everybody's attention, which is difficult to do because everybody's talking. The place is packed. You'd think that under normal circumstances, it probably wouldn't be packed if they didn't bring all of their family to the town meeting. But as it is, there's at least about 25 families worth, and all of those families seem to be big. You've got grandma, grandpa, you've got the parents, you've got children, some of the children have children, and it just strikes you that there's an awful lot of them in this town. Everybody do a spot hidden.
Hooray! I made it.
I passed with a normal success.
Yep.
So did I.
Out of 40.
Yeah, normal pass here.
Okay. Well,
Normal pass.
they all just seem like country folk. You notice cultural similarities between everybody. None of them are dressed up fancy. Looks like they probably get all of their clothing and stuff from Woolworths or something like that. And there's a fairly, I would say a fairly large proportion of them have blonde or sandy colored hair. There's a few brown haired people. And they've all got that sort of, without being too, not being delicate, kind of that inbred look. Like they're all, families have been marrying into families for a long time. You know, you got a lot of buck teeth, you got a lot of misshapen heads.
Well, as Mr. Whitworth put it, there's not a lot to do around here.
Exactly.
And breaking them up a little bit would probably do them the world of good.
And yeah, you're probably right. And the kids especially are kind of ugly. You don't see very many cute kids in this group. But you're not quite sure why they all look so odd.
Kind of surprising. I mean, it was only 15 or 20 years back that they were trying to sort out this kind of thing. Were it not for the war, I imagine that eugenics would never have fallen out of favor.
Well,
So-
I still finding kids cute after enough of them point 22s at you when you're looking at their property.
So anyways, we don't have to go into all the town meeting and repeat everything that we've already said. Basically, you tell them what you told the mayor and that you are going to come around over the next few days to their farms and assess them and tell them how much they're worth. Nobody is happy. There are a few people who are adamant about we're not going to move.
Does anything stand out about the people who are most adamant?
No, just seems to be general. These people are extremely emotional at this point. They just found out that everything that they've done for years is suddenly going to end, and within a week.
Incidentally, just because I'm curious how truthful I might be able to be in future interactions with these people, do I actually think that there is any similar area where a number of people would be able to affordably get similar amounts of property and stay together?
In California?
Yeah.
Maybe there's other places. You're certainly not going to find them, another valley nearby.
No.
Quite honestly, you don't really give a shit. I mean, where they move is not any of your problem. It is if you want it to be, but you've got a lot of people here that you would have to.
Well, I'm figuring the only reason they need a mortgage attorney here, aside from it mattering who owes a lot on their property and who doesn't owe as much, like the only thing I can do here that's useful is, try and help set people's minds at ease about other arrangements, right? So
well, you're helping the banks get their money. That's useful.
To banks, yeah.
He's basically making more business for himself, because if he can get a new mortgage
That's
from
right.
him, you're making more money.
He's like, let me close your current mortgage and help you open up a new one. Yes.
He's just kind of lagging behind you two scoundrels,
Well, I can't say I care. I've been paid, and I'm suddenly sounding like Jessica Tandy. I've been paid, and I'm just here to serve the notices. That's all I need to do.
So
If they decide not to move, it matters not one whit to me.
unless you have something specific you want to bring up in the meeting, we'll say that the meeting ends and people go away, some of them angrily, some of them get in their trucks and peel out and head towards their farms. And
I think we'll have to be watching some of them farmers.
We might need to get the mayor and even the sheriff to come out with us.
Well, the mayor has offered to come out with you. Sheriff, probably. So you do meet the sheriff. The sheriff and his wife, Hugo and Mary Taylor. Sheriff Taylor.
Tom, real quick question: was the pastor at the meeting?
Yes, he and his wife were there, and their kids. Go ahead, everybody, do a spot hidden roll.
You just remind me, is the mayor called Mayor Thompson or Mayor Thomas?
Mayor Thompson.
Mayor Thompson.
Mark and Ann.
And I got a hard success on that spot hidden with an 18.
Normal success here.
Okay.
I got an extreme as well.
Okay.
So did I. I got a 9.
Wow. So you all notice certain things, but those of you with the extreme, you notice, well, let's say what you all notice is that everyone has a big family. Okay. And it's usually grandparents, parents, children, sometimes children's children. A lot of them. Those of you with an extreme, you manage at some point or other to hear a couple things over the crowd during the day, and it surprises you because some of the old guys, those who look like their grandparents, will refer to the little children as son or daughter. And that just strikes you as odd. Like, his grandma and grandpa still having kids? That doesn't seem, maybe it's a cultural thing in the area.
Well, you know what things are like out in these rural areas.
It's giving me the heebie-jeebies.
What do you mean, EW?
Well, I mean, to put none too fine a point on it, when the lights go out in these kind of places, it's all a sexual free-for-all. You know, we've all seen the big-eared boys down on the farms.
There's something else, too. The children are pretty fucking ugly. I mean, the more you look at them, the more you keep seeing these kids, you keep wanting to hear, because they sound like kids, and they giggle, and they laugh, and they play, but they they look homely, you know, and they all seem to have the big teeth, and they all seem to have sort of sandy blonde hair, and most of their hair is fairly short, even the girls, not too short, and they're just very unappealing children, and they look fairly similar. And there's something else. Are their eyes just a little too far apart for normal? Something about these children is weird.
Too many people, too little genes. I think scattering them to the four winds. Scattering them to the four winds.
I think a place like this, we're dealing with more of a gene cup than a gene pool. By the look of some of them, perhaps even a gene thimble.
All right, so the meeting ends, we'll say about 3:00 in the afternoon. What would you guys like to do? Now, you can, in theory, go out to a farm today, but it's going to get late, and you've gotten to town. You drove for 5 hours to get out here.
I think we need to give these people some time to think their plans over.
I agree.
Let's not press things too much.
No, they're likely to be quite uppity this evening. Let's let them sleep on it and deal with it in the cool light of day.
Yeah, well, I think we should get started very early tomorrow morning. I don't want to spend another minute in here longer than I have to.
Yeah, I've got to say, I was feeling really sorry for those folk, but these are a weird bunch of people here.
Yeah, it's
well, Jim, isn't that the best
who,
reason to feel sorry for someone? I mean, whatever their lot in life so far, maybe this will give them an opportunity they need for improvement.
Yeah, I agree.
At the very least, it'll give them an opportunity to go to another town and perhaps meet someone they're not related to.
So,
EW, you have such a kind heart, really.
Well, there's only so far in life you can get with a hair lip.
Is it worth having a look around the town and then going and getting a meal back at the hotel?
Apologies to anyone with a hair lip who's watching this.
So,
sure, Jim, I wouldn't mind taking a walk around. I think a walk would do me some good after the stuffiness in that meeting. And I'd be fine to get some dinner. But now that I think about it, it's only 3. There's probably still a few lenders back in the city open until 5. I'm going to make a couple more calls. Then I'll meet up with you. You want to? Why don't we meet at the church and say? Why don't we meet at the church and say an hour and take a walk and get some dinner?
Okay.
So, other than the church and the mayor's house and a few other little houses here and there, you've got the sheriff's office. You've got the general store, and that's about it. There's no restaurant. The only people who will serve you food is the hotel.
Sorry, can I just clarify? The town meeting, was that in the town hall?
That was in the town hall, right?
Right. Okay. I wondered.
Which you promptly slapped a condemnation notice on.
Oh yeah, I've already put one on the courthouse as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they're state buildings. Don't have to worry about those.
Okay.
To be honest, I'm not really that fussed. I'm quite happy just to kind of take in what's there, and I don't really even see any point in going into the store because they're not going to want they're not going to like us. So I'm happy to go back, wander around, and then go back to the hotel.
Well, I'm gonna
Okay.
go into the store.
Okay.
I want to just see if they have like crackers and bread and whatnot.
Oh, why? Because they're cheap?
Yeah.
All right. So does anybody go with Howard?
No.
Mr. Howard? So, Marty, you go into the general store, and when you do, it's pretty much what you'd expect to be in a general store. There are some groceries. There's no alcohol, and there's a lot of there's bread and there's crackers and there's things like that. You immediately notice the proprietor and his wife behind the counter, and he says, you're that tax fellow, yeah.
The one and the same.
And he's like, nobody here is going to want to leave. What happens? What happens if we don't leave?
You drown, I guess.
Do you really think that they would blow up that dam and let us all drown?
I mean, if the National Guard can't get you to move, I mean, people got to drink water. So
He says, my name is Sam Fansant, and this is my wife, Humility.
oh, well, nice to meet you.
You've really laid a heavy burden on us all.
Well, it's not me. You got to understand. It's Uncle Sam. It's not like I made the decision and signed the papers to make this happen. I'm just here following through.
Well, if there's anything you need. And you see 6 days, huh?
Yep, 6 days. And as I'm buying the bread and the crackers, I'm going to make a little comment where it's like, no alcohol, huh?
No, pretty much nobody drinks here, so
Really?
no point in having alcohol. Nobody buys it.
Well, why is that?
I don't know.
Are you from around here?
My whole life.
And she's no. All right.
Do a spot hidden for me.
This one I fail.
Okay. Other than being kind of ugly, and his wife's kind of ugly too, they seem fairly reasonable. Upset, but
Right. But
they've gotten over the worst of it, mate. Yeah, everybody's upset.
That's just how it's going to be. Because I'm going to buy my cheap little meal from them the next couple of days, like just crackers and stuff to kind of store up. And
all right. And the rest of you went back to the hotel?
Yeah, I'm in my room, probably calling banks and lenders and such. I'm now that I see how determined these people are probably to remain together, I'm sort of focusing on trying to identify like a particular region that seems suitable.
Okay.
If I can.
I took the precaution of buying a few comestibles before I came out here. I don't necessarily trust the food in these out of the way places.
Those of you who had the soup,
I stocked up at the Piggly Wiggly before I came here.
Those of you who had the soup earlier, it was delicious.
I get myself kind of sharpish, ready for the meal, and kind of try to just chat with the proprietors again. And
well, they seem a little calmer. Sammy, not Sammy. Andrew, he and his wife, they sort of take you aside and they say, so what sort of compensation am I expecting to get for my
was it 14 acres they had?
14 acres?
Well, because the government's buying the whole land, and you know it might not be as good as you would like, but probably about $840.
$840.
Yeah, I mean it's per acre the way, because the whole area's been bought up. However, I'll and I kind of look round and make sure none of the tax assessor or anybody else is around, and I'll say I'll try and boost it a little bit, but that's really what we're getting offered.
Well, any little bit would help.
Yeah.
Around that same time, his kids come in, and they're just sort of hanging around.
I say, at the meeting today, we've noticed that, or certainly I noticed that everybody seems to have real big families. Is that just because it's good for the farm, to have workers, or is that?
Well, that's one. Yeah, sure. Farms need a lot of people working on them. Everybody needs. I need a lot of help here in the hotel, just keeping the place clean. And it's a country. There's not much else to do out here, but have kids.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you don't have any other folks ever moving into the area from other areas. It's more just kind of.
I don't think there's any place for them to move into.
Hmm.
There's no vacancies anywhere that I know of. Every farm's got a family.
Yeah.
So anyways, he does serve, once again, some of that soup for those of you who want it.
I would think I'd come down by this point. You folks sure do make some excellent soup here. Thank you again for your hospitality.
Archie, one of the things that you found really difficult is, of course, there's nobody back home that can get information to you very quickly. Obviously, this is 1940. There ain't no computers. So they have to do research to find this information, and it could probably take a week or two.
Well, I think we just have our meal, and
okay.
I don't know if I have any friends or contacts. I might try to pull a string to get it to be a week instead of 2 weeks.
Well, maybe, but now business hours are done. So
okay. Well, then I'll just concentrate on setting people at ease if I can.
Okay.
If there's nothing else I can do, and enjoy the soup.
Okay. Morgan, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just wondering, are we all together now? Is everybody, W and Marty, are we all, yeah?
You're all back in the hotel.
So maybe just a plan for the morning. Are we, is it a case of would we all be going to visit the farms with the...
Pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And you've got about 18 farms.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sitting there eating my crackers. I'm not eating any of their
food.
I'm sitting with everybody else still. Just out of my own little.
You really should try the soup, Marty.
No.
I'm really fine.
I'm good.
It's delicious.
Yeah. You folks really are fine cooks.
Thank you. All right.
Well, 18 farms, and what do we have? 5 days left.
Yeah.
That's
that would take us 2 days to get round.
We've got to get more. We've got to go to more than 3 farms a day. So at minimum, 2 before lunch and 2 after. So.
The mayor has supplied you with a list of the farms and the people living on them.
Well, do we want to deal with the people who are further away from the town center first and work our way in?
Yeah, that's fair.
Or is there
Possibly. I'll give you the also when you're looking at the list too. You're seeing how many acres they have. Jonathan and Charlotte Cresswell have 994 acres, as opposed to somebody like Roy and Alice Redmond who only have 170. So there's quite a spread of how many acres they have.
So if we start with the smaller acres, we'll get less money, and therefore we won't have to pay as much for the greater acres. Maybe that's a better plan.
Well, I think you were right at least about the first part, Marty. But if you flip that the other way around, we may be able to give a fairer price to those with a lot of acres. If we start there, by the time we get down to less acres, they might not be as concerned about being able to afford other property in such large amount.
And you realise, Mr. Howard, we're only giving them 60%. That's not much more than half the price that they should get. So
Right, but say, I mean, depending on how many acres are here and how much money we have, we might be able to get away with less than 60% for, say, the 900-acre family, because we won't have 60% at that point.
Yeah.
And we'll pay less. We'll save money. Hey.
Well, it's not like we're gonna save the money, like or is Uncle Sam giving you a commission, Marty?
No, look. Uncle Sam's does so much for us. I mean, sending his boys off to protect our freedoms, making sure that we have roads and infrastructure and the government. I think that that's all very valuable, and I would hate to waste that money, but when it could go to something useful.
Well, getting these people a fair deal is useful.
To who?
Well, to them. That's what we're here for, isn't it?
What are they going to do with say $20,000 more, huh?
Well,
think of how many children
buy a reasonable
we can
property
free with $20,000. They don't need a couple more acres.
Well, realize 1944, you could buy a nice house for $20,000 easily. A nice house and a little bit of property. That's a lot of money.
Well, Marty, it seems there's two problems here. The first is clearly these people. There's three problems. They're very attached to their land. They have big families. They're clearly invested in farming, and maybe a lot of them are going to want to remain together. We should try to respect their concerns.
Let me put it this way, Archie. If you want to come on these types of outings, and you want to help people, perhaps those in power would feel more favorable to having you accompany more of them if your first one, or whatever one this is, doesn't go over budget.
Well, I agree with you there. I know that we're limited to the budget we have, and like I said, I think you were right. We need some kind of order here to be sure that we can make the fairest use of these funds possible. So we're at least in agreement about that.
I would like Archie and Jim to do power rolls.
See if they strangle me.
Yeah. Okay. Power rolls.
I pass just.
If they start fighting, can I just stand in the background just going, do it! Do it!
I also passed with a normal success.
Okay. It's getting late. You guys are getting tired.
Yeah. We've got an early start.
You got an early start. So
I'm heading to bed, gentlemen. I will see you in the morning sharp.
Yeah, the same for me. Good night, Jim. Good night, Marty.
Good night.
EW. You'll have a good night's rest. I'll see you for breakfast.
you all retire to your rooms, and Jim and Archie, you find that as you're going through whatever evening routine you have to get ready for bed, that you are very tired. and perhaps you forego brushing your teeth because you just want to go to bed. You are exhausted for some reason. Marty and EW, you just go to bed. You all sleep a little restless. Although Archie and Jim, you fall into a deep sleep very quickly. You seem to be completely relaxed in bed. You all begin to dream about a prairie. You can see the mountains off in the distance all the way around. You can see that it's farmland, and it's either early morning or it's dusk. The sun is in the sky, and the sky is kind of blazing with colors. But like I see, you're not sure whether it's morning or dusk. You realize that you are buried in the ground up to your necks, and it's only your heads above the ground. And you're looking across the valley, and there's a kind of what they call a dust devil. Looks like a little tornado made out of dirt and dust. And it's way off in the distance, and it's growing in size, and it turns black. And you see little bolts of lightning dancing around it. And it becomes very much cloud-like as it's slowly getting closer and closer. It still looks like it's a mile off or so, but it's getting enormous. And you think that you can see things in the clouds that look maybe like mouths or eyes, something glistening in the light, in the bright orange and flame red sunset or sunrise. You still don't know what it is. And you can hear voices in your mind. You hear your distant voices, it sounds like, but Mayor Thompson, what are we going to do about this? He says, all the elders have spoken. He says, we need to find a way to stop that dam from blowing up. He says, what do you propose we do? And it's right about there that you start to wake up in the morning, and you're drowsy, and you feel like you've had a difficult time sleeping, but you're waking up, and the dream sort of begins to fade away from your minds. But you still can remember what you thought you heard people saying in your mind. You think that you're just dreaming about the town meeting. All right, so it's morning. Let's say it's about 6 a.m.
And that was, sorry, Tom, was that myself and Archie that had that experience, or all of us?
It was all of you, yeah. But Jim, but Mr. Coleman and Mr. Calvert, you're having trouble getting up this morning. You feel extremely drowsy still.
Well, when I can finally manage to get washed and dressed and stumble downstairs, do I see the proprietor around? People awake?
Yep, he is there. Him and his family, and he says, "So you're up."
Finally, you have some. Well, you have some mighty comfortable beds here. That's for sure. How about some strong coffee? You got that?
Yes, we do have the coffee going, and we can make you some breakfast.
Well, thank you. I'm sure that'll help. I think I'll take my coffee black.
Okay. So, how about the rest of you? All come down.
Yep.
Yeah.
He gives you basically
I need a coffee.
gives you a simple breakfast. Eggs and bacon, and maybe some potatoes with onions and peppers.
Well, this is good.
Coffee.
I think I'm slightly embarrassed, but I think that public meeting got to me. That I had some strange dreams. I can't really remember them, but I remember hearing the villagers talking, and I just described little bits and pieces without going into too much detail.
I seem to recall something very similar. Perhaps, well, you know how sometimes you hear something and it influences a dream. Perhaps we heard our host here at the hotel was possibly on the telephone or some such.
Well, did you hear anyone talk about whether or not the demolition could be delayed at the meeting? I don't remember anything like that at the meeting myself.
Well,
but that's what I. Well, this is.
Well,
This
I
is really
think
strange, but I'm dream. Well, I think I had a very similar dream, but I just don't remember anyone discussing that at the meeting. Do you?
I don't think anybody said it out loud, but there was strong opposition to people wanting to leave.
yeah, that makes sense. Just a little bit disturbing.
Well, I can't see how they're planning on staying. I mean, not only will the whole valley be flooded, but we've got the National Guard coming.
Do you remember? Do you remember anyone mentioning anything about town elders or something like that? I mean, I know they have the mayor and well, I wasn't sure if he was a priest or a pastor, but
Well, maybe they're little. I don't. It's no church I've ever heard of, but maybe they have some kind of priesthood body that go by elders.
yeah, that could be.
I think they might be Mormons or something like that.
Yeah, no alcohol elders. Maybe.
It's a strange name for a church, that's for sure.
Although I think the Mormons name all their churches the same thing. They don't have different names, so.
No, yeah, Marty's right. I've never. Well, I'd have thought it was a Catholic church, but that from the Latin, but that surely isn't a Catholic priest. Is the
I think
as
it
we're
might have
talking,
something.
Tom, is the proprietor around?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
you can't really get far away from anybody.
Say,
Proprietors.
we're wondering what how are we supposed to address the head of the church? Is he a priest, pastor? What's his title?
Pastor John.
Pastor John.
Pastor John and his wife Dorothy Mears.
Well, how old's the church?
Well, I don't know. It's been here since I was a kid.
Wow. Well, I know there's a lot of real old Spanish Catholic churches elsewhere in the state, but
No, it's not Catholic.
well, no, I didn't figure it was him being called a pastor, but Mr. Whitworth here at first seemed to think maybe some of you'd be would have been Mormons, but I
No, we're not
what
Mormon.
was the but do you have some prohibition against alcohol?
Not particularly. Just nobody drinks it.
Well, that sure seems healthier than some local customs I can think of. I try to keep fit myself. Speaking of things like that, though, I think I'd better have some more coffee. I'm still drowsy.
Oh, gentlemen, I'm very keen to get out and start looking at the property, so maybe we can finish up our breakfast and,
Yes, this is
and get out.
It's a farming community. People will be up.
It's going to take us it's going to be a long day getting around and discussing, what money
All right.
Everybody do a spot. Everybody do a listen roll.
97.
I made it, I think. Hold on.
You're listening to Archie Crunch's bacon.
Well, actually,
it's a hard success.
I'd like to pass by spending.
There's no point.
Oh,
yeah, you don't have. Somebody passed.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Jim. Did you pass also?
I did not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Jim and EW, you hear the sound of maybe vehicles outside. Sounds like 2 or 3 of them.
Oh, I hope that's not any trouble. I'll go over to the window and take a peek and see if maybe it's the mayor or somebody else.
Yeah, weren't the mayor and the sheriff planning to go out with us?
Yeah.
What you actually see look like 4 pickup trucks, and they've got in the back of them, they've got a couple of people in the back, and they've got a couple of people in the cabs, and it looks like they're driving out of town.
Oh,
excellent.
Oh, that's a relief. For a moment, I was worried that they came to lynch us, you know.
Well, no one here seems half as aggressive as some people we've run into. Isn't that right, EW? I mean, these people seem to be, quite friendly and have their composure.
Yep. Well, we haven't had call to start plucking the buckshot out of ourselves yet, so that's a good thing.
All right. Well, for the sake of time, let me move you guys ahead. You go to 5 farms this day, and it's about what you expect. Some of them are aggressive. They won't even let you on their property. They threaten to shoot at you. Those that do let you on their property, they listen to what you have to say, and they tell you more or less that they'll have an answer for you in a day or two.
Could I just specify that I don't know what they're actually called, but you know I know that they were around in the 40s though. You know the hammers with a stapler on the end,
like a staple gun.
Yeah, like a staple gun, but it's like a hammer with like a stapler.
Right, you hold up the thing and you go like that.
Yeah, putting up bills.
Sure.
And so, I mean, if anyone's going to refuse to let us in, I'm just going to go to the nearest fence post and just whack the notice of condemnation on the fence post on the edge of their property or something. That counts as having served it.
Okay.
And I think in every case, I'm telling them the story that if this isn't done in an organised way, that the old dam will at some point break down. So really, we're actually helping them. As difficult as this is, we're helping you. You know, we're helping you to move on in a safe way. So that's the story.
Do I have access to like information about people's mortgages? Like, do I have their financial records like provided by the state with me, or is that not really part of what I'm dealing with here?
I don't know. Maybe there's records at the town hall.
Okay, so I'll try to check on the records of people who refuse to let us in, see if they have like particular problems or issues.
Well, Marty kind of tells you that he's already looked over some of their financials and everything seems to be well paid up.
Okay.
Yeah, they seem to keep surprising for these small communities. They seem to be quite to the letter when it comes to their finances.
But one thing that you do find that's rather remarkable is all of these, all of the farms in the town, all of the residents own their property. They have to pay taxes on it, but nobody owes anything on their property.
Well, that's extraordinary.
Well, it's multi-generational. They've been here for a long time, so.
Oh, that makes sense, I guess.
And when we go round to 5 farms that day, are any of them accepting the offer, or are they all, we'll decide later?
Yeah, none of them will say right away.
Okay.
And you definitely get a feeling that there's kind of a loyalty in town. You know, if one person breaks, then they're fucking everybody else in town. So, and you're not sure whether maybe they're holding out for more money.
Yeah.
That's definitely a possibility.
Sure.
But to a T, nobody seems to want to move. Everybody's very happy where they are. Now, I'd like, I'd like Mr. Coleman, Jim, to do a luck roll, and also Marty, you do a luck roll.
That's a pass for me.
That's going to be a no-go.
Okay. Well, Jim, one of the things that you have to do is to assess the property.
Yeah.
So, pretty much outside, everything is more or less the same. You know, it's just land, it's farmland and all that. That's easy enough. When you're looking at their houses, there's something odd, and you don't really get it until maybe the third farm. All of them have basements, and all of their basements have been converted into bedrooms. And it looks like nobody sleeps upstairs. It looks like they all sleep in the basements, kind of communally. I mean, if they've got 7 or 8 people in their family, they share 2 or 3 beds in the basement. And that's very strange.
I told you so.
Yes, I say, boy. It looks like they're like a dormitory. This is kind of creepy.
What do you mean, Jim? A dormitory? Like what they?
Well,
they said they don't get very many people passing through. They can't be renting space. What do you mean?
Have a look at some of these sketches. You know, I take when I come out, I take a brief sketch of the place so I can identify it just at a glance and explain. You know, the basement.
Well, maybe there's something unusual about the climate here. Say, that dream you had last night, was there some kind of storm in it?
Where are you when you say that out loud?
I don't know where.
I guess we're outside. We're outside one of the last property, maybe.
Okay. So you're there together, but there's nobody else there with you. Okay.
Was there some kind of storm in it?
I think dust devils, or that kind of thing.
Those are pretty common out here. I don't know why you're taking too much stock in dreams there, Archie. I thought you were more of a secular kind of man.
Well, I don't normally think too much about those things either way, but, there's obviously something unusual about all more or less having such a specifically similar dream, and, I'm just wondering if maybe we picked up on something that we weren't quite conscious of. Maybe there's something about the climate here. Like, why would everyone want to sleep below ground? Maybe.
I dare say it's cooler.
Can I make an education or intelligence roll to think back to see if the hotel owners, if they slept in rooms on the above ground?
Yeah, go ahead.
At 21, that's going to be a hard pass.
You think that on that first night you saw a couple of the boys go to a door and go down some stairs. Yeah.
Okay. Seems like
The
everybody.
proprietor and his wife stayed above, doing what they were doing. But
Well, whatever it is, it can't be too bad, or people wouldn't be so attached to living in this valley.
Sorry, George, go ahead.
Oh, well, I'm just maybe there's something about maybe there's something people think is special about the land. Maybe wasn't that church named after Mother Earth or something like that? Wasn't that right, EW? My land's pretty rusty too, but
it was something like that. It was the mother of the earth, or the earth mother, or
something.
Well, it looks like to me
I'm not so good at the conjugation of Latin verbs.
Yeah. Well,
it looks
maybe,
like to me they're living in the earth, Archie.
Yeah. Say churches.
It does, doesn't it?
Looking at the houses, Tom,
Mhm.
what sort of condition are the houses in? Do they look like they've been regularly battered by storms, or like dust storms, or
Well, earlier I had you roll, but since you asked directly, in your opinion, you're doing these people a favor because the houses are not in great condition. You know, the paint is chipped and the wood is weathered and so forth. It doesn't look like there's been particularly bad storms, but it just looks like the houses on the outside haven't been upkept very well. Even in town, the buildings, they're definitely old and weathered.
maybe they're all just real health conscious. Like nobody drinks here. They have real good food. Do any of you know anything about farmland? Like I really don't, but does this look like good land?
I've got a good. It's my job to appraise land and buildings, so I've got a good awareness of natural world. As Jim's reflecting on this, was there any sense of maybe there was an exit further away, like a kind of basement type door, maybe round the back of the yard, as much as I could see? I'm just wondering.
I imagine that most of the houses had a door on the outside, like basements do. But there was nothing special.
Yeah.
It just looks like the basements had been. It doesn't look like they used that door.
Yeah.
It looks like they just come down from the inside. But the basements are definitely used for bedrooms.
Well, gentlemen,
every single farm that you go to.
The only people that's friendly at the moment, in any case, are the couple that own the hotel. So we could always ask them. It just seems I've never seen anything quite like that. It's really strange.
Yeah. Did you? You've been through all the houses, right? Today?
Well, they don't really. I don't know. Did I even get in? Did I actually get into the property, or?
We'll say that you got into 3 of the houses.
Okay. Yeah.
But did you see any crosses anywhere?
No, you didn't see anything like that.
I don't know. I was just, assessing the property. I don't really look at what's on the mantelpiece,
Jim, do an ID roll.
Okay. Hard pass.
Okay. It suddenly sort of hits you like, why didn't you think of this earlier? But in one of the bedrooms, there was a painting on the wall, and it was just a country painting, but it was a painting of a prairie with some mountains in the distance and a kind of a black cloud sort of hanging over the center of it. And you remember that part of your dream And you also remember that you were buried in the ground up to your neck. You remember it quite, and you didn't think of it until now, but that painting looked kind of like a dream. You don't remember which house it was in, but it was in one of those houses.
You know, Archie, you just gave me the shivers asking about crosses and things in the house. Something from that crazy dream I had last night came back to me. There was a painting in one of those houses we were in, and I tell the story.
Okay.
That it was exactly, it's just giving me goosebumps. And I described then, because I kind of really forgot the dream, most of it, you know, but now that I've made that connection, I describe it kind of more vividly to the guys.
That's just the same as mine.
And there's something horrible I don't really want to say, but I was buried in the ground and my head was the only thing above the ground. I don't know, this is like a bad omen. I think we should get back to the hotel and
this is about the strangest thing I've ever seen.
I'm not a suspicious or superstitious man, but
neither am I.
There's something not altogether right about this place.
Well,
have
we gone and talked to the people who run their church?
Well, maybe we should. Maybe there's something people think is special about this place.
Well, I must say, from a purely legal and professional perspective, we need to establish whether the church is owned by the pastor, by the community, or by some sort of higher religious authority.
Everybody to a luck roll.
Purposes of dispensing the compensation. Yes, sir. I've passed that.
So did I.
I'm a lucky devil.
Failed.
Marty?
Yeah. I got a 12. I passed.
Pass? Okay.
Hard pass.
Jim, you guys are all standing there towards the edge of a farm, the last farm. And Jim, you were suddenly hit in the side of the head with a rock.
Oh.
Roll for damage. Just roll a 1d4 and cut it in half. But you all suddenly notice him.
There's blood. There's blood streaming down from 2 points of damage. There's blood streaming down between my fingers, and I'm like, oh.
I'm going to instantly look around to see where it came from and who.
Yeah, you see a bunch of kids over near the farmhouse, probably the family's kids, all scrambling to run behind the barn. That's definitely the direction that it came from.
Little bastards.
I'm getting back to the hotel, gentlemen. He's pulling out a hanky. I'm pulling out a hanky and trying to mop the blood streaming down the side of my head.
Don't worry. It will dry eventually. I know.
Yeah, let's get you back to the hotel there. They're bound to have some form of first aid there. We need to wash that down and get it dressed properly.
So as you get back to the hotel and you park your car, there are a few people on the street walking by, and there's a man and a woman. You assume it's his wife, and a couple of kids. And as they walk by, the husband spits at the ground that you're walking on. Really kind of blatantly telling you that he really doesn't like you. So
mind yourself, sir.
Yeah, what are you going to do about it? And his wife's like, honey, stop.
Is it possible to have done any first aid on the
bleeding? Well, you haven't actually walked into the hotel yet.
Oh, no, I meant in the car. I was accidentally muted.
You don't have a first aid kit in the car.
Oh, okay.
He's holding something against you.
Right.
Okay.
I'm actually feeling quite faint. I mean, he's not a strong guy. You know, he's not got a lot of constitution, so he's quite dizzy and disorientated, I think.
I try to help Jim. Be sure.
Yeah, I'm
Be sure he gets
interested
settled
in
okay.
getting into the hotel. Yeah.
All right, you get into the hotel, and Andrew and Sarah are there, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, what happened?"
Oh, some kids throwing rocks.
So he immediately gets like the first aid kit, and helps you patch that up. He says, "I'm sorry that happened. You got people pretty riled up."
Yeah, well, you know how kids are. They just react.
Anyways, he gives you a bandage. He gives you some Bactine and some bandages, and
Great.
You're doing all right there, Jim. I mean,
Yeah, just a little bit shaken. I give the couple a couple of dollars for their attention.
If it makes
no.
If it makes any difference to his recovery, I got a regular success on first aid to contribute to the endeavor.
Okay. It's not necessary. So what are you going to do now? You're there for maybe 15 minutes with them fussing over you a little bit.
Well,
I don't know. I think I'm a little bit spun physically with the blow and with that crazy painting. And how can a painting have the same picture as my dream? And Jim's not a superstitious or that kind of guy. So I think as they're attending to him with the bandages, he just blurts out, almost half-consciously, that crazy dream about the prairie and the thundercloud, and there was a painting on that in that farm that was exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah, strange time.
When you say that out loud, Sarah perhaps is doing like this. She just suddenly stops moving as she looks over at Andrew, and he looks at her, and they say, "You had a dream?"
It was like a beautiful prairie, but there was a dust devil, and then there was like the storm, and then I just kind of relay the story.
and I had the same dream too. Do you all get some extreme weather in these parts?
No, we don't get any kind of extreme weather, but it sounds to me like you should talk to Pastor Mears. Well, he's not here right now.
Why is that?
Well, and he looks at his wife, and he looks back, and he says, "Well, he had to go out of town."
No, I mean, why would Pastor Mears have something to comment on concerning the local climate?
No, about the dream.
I lean over and I say, "Do you people?" I don't believe in these things, but do you people believe this area is a special prairie? Special land?
Special prairie. This is where we live and grew up. Of course it's a special prairie.
No, but...
This is our home.
Like he means like the land.
Special land.
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
Well,
Okay.
we notice people here like to sleep below the ground level. Is there something special about the valley?
That's kind of an old custom. We feel more secure.
Oh.
It's a dark, warm, safe place.
If you don't mind me asking. Sorry, on you go, Martin.
Secure from what?
Just secure.
You don't feel safe upstairs, above ground?
Well, I mean, of course it feels safe, but, it's just one of those things. Don't y'all lock your doors when you go to sleep?
Right, but I don't sleep in the basement.
Well, like I say, it's an old custom.
Did there used to be like twisters and tornadoes and things around here?
No, there's no tornadoes or twisters or anything like that.
Maybe we go and speak to their pastor tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I'd like to, but you say he went out of town?
Yeah, he might be back tomorrow.
Well, all right. We were hoping to speak to him anyway. Maybe he can help put people's minds at ease. Say on that note, do you think that when most of you relocate, are you hoping to remain together? Or are there a lot of people with extended relations? I mean, we saw there were big families, but do you think?
I'm sorry, but if you'll forgive me, when you talk about things like that, it's very upsetting to my wife and me. So, if you don't mind, just I don't mean to be in a hospital, but lay off for a while, please.
Oh, sure, not at all. I'm very sorry if all this has caused you so much stress. You just take the time you need, and you let me know if I can be of any particular help. I'm gonna keep on back with folks in the city. I'm determined to find a good deal for you people.
So the evening comes, and once again, you're served soup if you want it.
Yeah, soup's good.
Okay. Right about 8:00. Let's assume that you guys didn't go to bed immediately. You're in your rooms, and you all hear the screeching of tires in dirt, and you can hear what sound like trucks coming into town from the opposite direction that the trucks went before. So now they're coming back.
Is there a window?
Yeah, you've all got windows, so you can.
I look out of it.
Okay. You see the trucks pull up just a little down the street, and a number of people get out, and they seem angry and upset, and they're just sort of congregating there in the middle of the road.
Can we hear what they're saying?
They sound angry, but you're too far away at the moment to hear what they're saying. Well, if you open up your window and you really concentrate, go ahead and give me a listen roll.
I am clearly much too tired to make it out. I just sigh and close the window and try to. Okay. I'm starting to feel a little bit dismayed that there doesn't seem to be an easier solution to all this, and maybe even think about just going to bed.
Then I got an 04.
Okay. What you hear is you glean a few words now and then because from somebody who is upset. They got the pastor. You hear that. You hear, I don't think he made it back. Says, and you also hear, we couldn't do anything about the explosives.
Oh. I'm going to go walk over to EW's room first. And kind of just... EW.
What? Yeah, what you want?
We might have a little bit of a problem.
More of a problem, you mean?
Right. The people outside, the angry group of people, I could hear them talking about how they tried to stop the demolition of the dam. They were talking about they couldn't do anything about the explosives that their pastor didn't make it back. I'm worried that they're taking their desire to stay and in a violent direction, and I think we're going to be in the forefront of that anger.
I had a feeling something like this might happen.
I think we should be prepared to make a hasty departure.
Well, yeah, I for one would feel a little bit happier coming back in the company of the National Guard, or at the very least, some law enforcement from out of town. I can't say I trust the local sheriff here. I think all these people seem to be related to each other, and blood is thicker than water.
Right. I'll go get the others.
This is a very dubious place.
And I'll go round everybody up.
Okay, while he goes and rounds everyone up, I'm going to pack my bags.
Okay. So he brings you all up.
Well, Marty, you even if they were trying to stop the demolition of the dam, like, you don't see they'd have any reason to do harm to us, do you?
They're trying to get rid of things that are trying to get rid of them, and I think they see us as that, as evident by Jim's head wound. I don't think they've already demonstrated violence.
That was just some kids, Marty.
Well, the man who spat, trying to start a fight outside, I think it's just escalating. I don't think we're
Well,
safe.
I suppose people, people can be temperamental.
Well, if you don't feel like packing, I
Well.
am more than happy to drive off without you.
Well,
Wentworth and Coleman do listen to us.
Tom, we never established whose car this is.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter? All right.
Company car.
Right. Okay. So
I'm sorry, Jim.
Fail for me.
Mick?
No, I failed as well, I'm afraid.
Okay.
well, Marty, I think we all have an equal share in the company car.
Once again, everybody do a listen roll.
Absolutely not.
Right
Too
now,
busy arguing with Marty.
I've got a standard pass, 41 out of 50.
Okay. So, EW, you can hear all of a sudden downstairs somebody saying, well, where are they? What rooms are they in? And
I mean, really, Marty, it's not like they're going to bury us in, up to our necks in the sand or something.
Listen.
What y'all didn't hear was the cop car pull up front. He said, well, Sheriff, they're upstairs, rooms 1, 2, 3, and 4. He says, all right, I'll see what I can do to keep them safe. He comes upstairs and comes to room number 1, knocks on the door. Are you guys all in the same room now?
As far as I knew, I was arguing with Marty in my room, so I'm in room.
I'm still in,
Yes,
I'm
he
in
walks
my
up to
room
us.
packing.
Okay. So he knocks on room 1.
Open the door.
I'm
The sheriff, evening.
I'm Sheriff Taylor.
Tom, is this a different sheriff than we met before?
No, same one.
Hello again, Sheriff Taylor.
He says, would you and your friends come with me? I need to get you someplace secure.
Gee, Marty, it seems like maybe you were right. Why are people?
Yes,
getting,
they are. You're getting a little bit
I see. Well,
little lynchy.
Lynchy. Well,
Well, you see, Archie, you should listen to me more often.
I guess you're right, Marty. So I hastily gather my effects, and well, Sheriff, where do you recommend we go?
Well, come with me. We're going to go to the jail, the sheriff's office. I can keep you safe there.
Well, we
why
do
don't-
have a car. Maybe we should just head out and come back when.
No, I don't think that's a very good idea.
Well, why not?
Just come with me, please.
Well, you don't think people are going to drive on after us, do you?
We should go.
I look out a small 22 pistol that I didn't think I was going to need, and I put it in my jacket pocket. And I'm pretty nervous about everything that's going on. So
would it be legitimate, Tom, to roll psychology concerning the sheriff's
Go ahead.
evasive response to me asking if you should drive away? So that is 3 points of luck later. That is a hard success, and I'm glad I put that extra point into psychology. So hard success.
You don't feel safe. You don't know if he's in league with these people.
Right.
Gentlemen, please.
Can't you just put down the law here?
Gentlemen, this place is not safe for you. Come with me now, please.
But what makes your office more safe? It's just another building. We're all in it.
I'm not here to argue with you. Come on, now.
Tom, was there any reason to think there was more than one way out of this place? It's a hotel, right?
Yeah, not from where you are.
Right.
There's down the stairs now.
And the car would be where?
Around back.
I don't mean to argue with you. I guess we'll go with you.
Thanks for your concern, Sheriff. Yeah, we'll. I'm packed and ready. Am I packed and ready?
Well, you don't need to be packed, sir. Just come on.
All right.
Bring your shotgun, Martin.
So we're just going to take
I already have it. I always have it. I've run out of plenty of small towns before. I know it's important to keep this thing near me.
You see the sweat on Jim's brow. He's just everything's gone wrong today. You know.
The policeman says, "Look, I'll carry that for you."
No. That's not necessary. I know how to handle it.
I'm afraid it's the law, sir. You're going to have to comply. I can't have you having a weapon. Nobody's got here.
Now, Sheriff, a minute ago you said that our safety was in question.
Sir, I am not going to argue with you. And he pulls out his gun and says, "Move it." It's my job to keep you safe. Get the hell down the stairs.
I quickly start going down the stairs.
All right.
Yeah, I do likewise.
And he has taken the shotgun away.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Yeah.
I'm keeping my hand in my pocket over the small pistol so that it's not obvious there's anything.
And he puts the gun back into his holster as he's going. He's just tired of sitting here arguing with you. All right. So unless you guys want to do something, he is going to take you to the sheriff's office.
Well, what do we see when we get outside?
You see a crowd of people down the street, and they're looking a little lynchy.
On the street. Do we see other cars that look prepared to give chase?
Well, there's 4 trucks there. I mean, there's pickup trucks.
Yeah, we'd never make it out of town.
Well,
just go to the sheriff's office. That's where Marty's going.
I don't think we've got much choice.
all right.
The man waving the pistol around is saying we go there, so we're going there.
All right. He takes you to the sheriff's office, and there's a couple of jail cells. And he's like, you can get in the left way, you can get in all together. That's probably the way you'd like it. Or you can
we don't get in them. Why are we getting in the jail cell?
Because once you're in the jail cell, nobody can get to you unless they have the key.
Or a gun.
Yeah, people don't have guns in this town, except me.
Really? All these farm families, no one's armed except you, Sheriff?
Get in the fucking cell. I am tired of hearing your voice.
I'm in there.
No, I step in.
All right. So he forcibly pushes you in if you keep resisting. But once inside, he locks the door. And He turns around and he walks out the door.
Did he take my shotgun with him?
Yeah, he took it with him.
I've actually got my pistol, okay, in my pocket.
Yes, you do.
You guys feel any safer in here?
Oh, I
No.
feel significantly less safe.
Because I don't.
Not at all.
But now they have 2 guns, so.
I really. Tom. Well, never mind. I don't think I need to bother to roll psychology. Even knows what
I think somebody needs to stay awake if some of us want to get a bit of rest, but I don't know if I can rest.
I don't think I want to be
Well,
asleep right now.
I certainly don't think I could sleep in here.
Well, and there's only like one cot.
Is a 50 in locksmith adequate for picking a jail cell lock in a small town with no lockpicks? What kind of tools would I need?
Maybe.
You would need a tensioner, something to put tension on the lock.
Hairpin and
Well,
a small dagger.
well, what about pens? I mean, I have obviously little pens and stuff in my briefcase.
I'll give you I'll say that you can put together. First, do a luck roll. And if you pass the luck roll, then you can try picking the lock.
Well, I didn't pass the luck roll.
Okay. So
Can't spend luck on a luck roll, right?
you're not, no, you can't. You don't seem to have anything that you could use to pick the lock.
Damn, I got all these papers. I left all my pens. And what about you guys? Don't you have any pens? I mean, EW, you have your whole case there. You all were packed. I was the idiot who thought it was still safe here.
Well, I have some pens, and
Let me see that.
I do have something which might be of some small help to you, but I would first swear you to secrecy before I reveal this.
Oh, of course, counselor. Attorney-client privilege and all that.
I'll just ask you to swear, sir, as a gentleman, that you will never give me your word that you will never tell another living soul about what you are about to see.
Well, other than these two, since we're all apparently in this together.
Very well, then. At that point, I will remove my hair, which is kept in place with 2 hairpins, and holding the toupee in one hand and the 2 hairpins in the other. I say, would these be of any use to you, sir?
Well, I think they would. EW, your secret's safe with us. Hopefully, we won't be taking it to our graves out in the prairie.
I'm not sure whether these will work because they're very fine ones.
I will let you go ahead and do a roll to see if you can pick the lock.
Well, I think they're finer than this lock, but let's find out. I got a extreme special success.
That's an extreme success.
I have made my sanity roll.
All right.
And dealt with the horror of having revealed my hate to the world.
I will allow it that by some miraculous chance, without bending them up too much, you actually managed to pop the lock. Tactics. There's a front door. There's a front window. There are back windows, but there doesn't seem to be a back door.
Are there?
Open out the front door, and at this point, you start to hear noise outside. You start to hear people, Sheriff, where are they? And he's like, now I have them secured. You don't have to worry. They're not going anywhere.
And that's in the front that we hear that?
Yeah.
Are there any storage things? I want to go looking for guns.
There is a gun locker.
Is it
How
open?
locked
No,
is
it is
How locked?
padlocked.
So
And
That's-
your bobby pins are all bent up by now. So.
okay. So that's going to be beyond our reach then, huh? What are these
What about-
windows?
Unless we shoot the lock off.
Yeah,
Marty,
what
does
about
anybody have-
Marty's shotgun? Is that out or is that locked up?
The shotgun, the sheriff has it with him.
All right.
What are the windows like?
They're just windows.
But I mean, are they the kind of windows you can open and get out of? Are they the kind of windows you have to smash?
Yeah, no, you could probably just left them.
Are they-
Wow.
Okay.
I want to peek out the back windows. I want to look out.
It's
Yeah.
dark out there. It's dark on that side.
Okay. I listen. Can we listen through the window? He's back there.
There's nobody back there.
Okay. Out the window. Come on, let's go.
Yep, window sounds great.
Okay. Are you all going to go out the window?
Yeah.
Hell, I am. I'm halfway out already.
Okay.
Hey, who has the car keys? I don't remember. I was too tired to drive before.
I pull out the car keys.
All right. Let's get to the car.
Okay.
Yeah, let's skedaddle.
Now, in order to get to the car, you're going to have to be running behind the buildings from building to building. But there are large gaps where you will be exposed to the street, and there are people on the street.
They have light sources. I guess it did.
Yeah. Yeah, they got and the street's lit up itself because there's street lights.
Diabolical.
And if you turn in the direction you came when you went out the window, right there, that's I mean I want to say wilderness, but it's not trees. It's scrub brush and eventually farms.
Is it moon? So how well lit is the place? What are the chances of being able to sneak across these gaps?
Well, it's actually pretty dark. You probably have a crescent moon. But it also means that it's very difficult to see. When you go behind a building, it's pitch black. And the ground is not just nice and flat. There's rucks and there's weeds and there's...
Well, unless they're chasing us yet, it's more important to be stealthy than to be speedy.
Where's
Except,
the sheriff's
yeah.
office in relation to our car?
You're just a little bit down the street.
And you said the car was parked behind the hotel? So behind buildings is already good for us because the car is behind the
Right.
building, right?
But you will have to go, into stretches that are maybe 50 feet where there is no building and there is light from the street. So unless, I don't know, you have to find some way of crossing that gap without the people on the street just going, hey, look, that's them.
Well, I mean, we can listen and see like how many people are on the street. Are they like out on patrol? Do we have the impression they're looking for us?
It's a crowd, maybe 30 or 40 people. They're not looking for anything. They think that you're locked up.
Right. So
You also hear that what the sheriff is actually saying seems rather disturbing, because he's not talking about you in the terms of he has to keep you safe. It's more like, well, he's got you. Don't worry, we've got them. They're not going anywhere.
My dream's coming back to me with her head sticking out the sand, and I'm like, let's go.
well, are there? Is it possible to maybe like get across the gaps, like from one like scrubby bush to another? If we try to be stealthy and we crouch down,
The scrubby bushes are only about a foot, maybe a foot and a half tall. It's grass. I mean, it's possible that you could sort of go out into the darkness and work your way around.
I think that's what I'm going to try to do. Look, let's stick together and try to like get out behind this scrub. We can't let them see us.
They don't know we're gone yet, so we're kind of got a lead, and so let's not be stupid and stay in the darkness.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
All right. I'd like everybody to do stealth.
Yep. Can I roll disguise instead? Because that's higher. I'm just kidding. That's helping.
What are you going to disguise yourself as?
a sagebrush.
I
Well,
disguise myself as an elderly Israeli woman.
Could I just roll luck because I don't have any stealth?
Oh, 11 out
Well-
of 50.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, if you don't pass your stealth, then go ahead and roll luck.
Okay. Instead of spending luck, we can roll our luck.
Oh my god, I
Right.
got
If
a
we
hard
fail.
luck roll.
Okay.
Yeah, I got an even better luck roll for sure. It's 24 out of 62.
Jim, he's giggling.
I failed my first one.
You failed it? Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are sneaking, and you think you're doing pretty well. And all of a sudden, Jim, you look over next to you, I mean, maybe 5 feet from you, and you can see the glint of eyes looking at you. And
Like low down like a child or something?
yeah, like maybe 5 feet from you, and it's dark, so you can't quite see the shape, and you're pretty sure it's a kid. And all of a sudden, it comes rushing at you, and it is a kid. It's a little boy, but he's got kind of a crazed look in his eyes, which seem a little too far apart, and
I've got the pistol in my hand, and I'm going to try and
yeah.
pistol whip him.
And you realize that he's not alone at that same moment. Now, the rest of you suddenly hear all this commotion coming from where Jim is. He's got other kids with him.
I look back.
There's a dozen kids, and
Jesus.
of various ages, from tots to teenagers, and they've all got this crazed look in their eye, and they're all trying to bite you with their big old buck teeth. So let's do some. And they're attacking you not like a fighter. They're attacking you like animals would attack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we all see this clearly?
Well, yeah. Once it starts. So
Anyone that's getting near, I'm just trying to pistol whip them, but
okay. Well, the one that comes at you, it startles you. But go ahead and see if you can. We'll just go with dexterity.
They're acting like a bunch of cotton-picking varmints.
All I really need to know is whether it's regular, hard, or.
I just got a 0.5. I got a 0.5.
All right, I got a 0.4, but that's still they're both extreme. So basically, he lunges at you, and you go to pistol him, but you end up sort of grabbing him, and you fall on your back, and he's like on top of you, snapping his little buck teeth at your face. And
what did he
now start coming?
I let out a little bit of a shriek.
Well, I'm gonna rush over there and I still got my case because I was afraid to leave it behind because people would see there was a case there. So I rush over and try to just knock him off of him with the case.
Okay, well, there's other ones coming at you now. So
wait, at me or
yeah,
general?
at all of you. There's a dozen of them.
Okay, well, obviously it's the case versus the feral children. So.
And they're sort of chittering at you as they come. You also hear off in the distance, "Hey, what's going on over there?" So,
How far am I from the car?
you've still got maybe 100 feet to go.
Sorry. I don't know what anyone else is doing. Just so you know what Marty's doing. He's booking it.
You're going to run to the car.
Mm-hmm.
I have no compunction about hitting children.
Okay.
I will gleefully do that.
That's why your wife left you.
If only they'd known of each other's existence.
All right, well, let's streamline this a little bit. Okay, EW. One of them lunges at you. What's your? Just go your level.
I'm swinging a haymaker at that.
Okay.
Varmint. 77.
This is so freaking weird because I got a 75. So he missed. And you sort of missed too, but there's others coming. Archie, go ahead and roll.
What is it, just fighting, probably?
Yeah.
Normal success, 36 out of 50.
Okay, he got a hard success. So he grabs a hold of you and he bites down on your arm. Go ahead and do a 1d4 and cut it in half. That's a little bit too much.
Cuts your arm in half.
Marty, you're running, and one of them is bounding after you, but he doesn't catch up to you.
Excellent.
Okay. By now, you've also noticed that the adults have started to move in this direction. It's going to take them a bit, but they'll be here soon. Jem Coleman.
Well, as I'm kind of defending him with maybe the hand with the pistol, Jim used to always do a bit of boxing, so he's just going to try and smack him right in the face and kind of get up. His goal is to stun him and get up and move, and if he has to, start shooting.
Okay. So go ahead and roll. I got a regular success.
I got it's a regular pass as well.
Okay. So you punch the kid right in the face, and he goes over sideways and makes an odd noise, a noise like a rabbit that's been caught by a dog, sort of a high-pitched squeal. EW, what do you do?
I'm going to make my way towards the car.
Okay.
Which I will do while doing what aficionados of 1980s straight edge hardcore will know as windmilling.
Okay.
Sure, much I knocked my headphones out there. So I'm windmilling.
Okay.
Towards the car, blindly lashing out.
Okay.
I'm a big, strong man.
Why don't you go ahead and do a roll to see if you hit him, but maybe at a penalty since you're just windmilling.
Okay. Well, I got 21. And a 9. So that will be 21.
Okay. So as he sort of lunges for you and you're windmilling, one of your fists cracks him in the face and he goes over making an odd little squeaky noise too. Marty, you will be to the car in not this round, but the next round.
Excellent.
But go ahead and do a dodge roll because this one's lunging for your feet.
That's a fail.
Okay, he got a 34. So as you're going, he lunges and manages to trip you. So you go down maybe 20 feet from the car. And he's sort of doing that climby thing where you're on the ground and he's now coming up over you. Who did we miss? Did we get everybody on that one?
Archie?
Archie.
Is he still attached to my arm?
Yeah.
How do I get him off? Wait, did he get the arm that was holding the case or the other arm?
He got your right arm.
Okay, well, I'm right-handed, so that's the arm that has the case. Can I pick it up with my left hand and try and knock him off with the case?
Okay. We'll just call that an attack.
Is there a penalty because it's my offhand? Or?
No.
Okay, well, I missed.
Okay. He got a 93. So he lets go of your hand. But one of his hands, he does have a hold of your wrist. And now he's snapping up towards your face, but he hasn't gotten you yet. Mr. Coleman.
So the goal now is to get on my feet and sprint. I'm going to hold the pistol back If I manage to kind of move away, I might, and anyone's getting near, I'll shoot down towards the ground or towards the kid. But not really wanting to shoot the kid, even though it's creepy as heck. But certainly to try and scatter them.
Okay. Go ahead.
Shall I do a dex for getting away?
Yeah, go ahead and do a dex. Sounds good.
That was a fail.
Okay. Well, you turn around then. Go ahead and do what you're going to do. You're going to shoot at the ground or?
Yeah, I'm going to shoot close to the nearest kid maybe that's coming for me, but I'm not going to try and shoot him. So
Okay.
Can I purposely miss him? That's a... Where's my gun? That's a fail.
It's a fail. You try to purposely miss him and you fail.
Yeah.
That means that you hit him.
Yeah, that's a bit...
So let's say you hit him right in the kneecap.
Oh.
And he screeches and rolls to the side, and now he's just incessantly screeching as loud as he possibly can. And you look over and you see that people, men and women, are within the next round. They're going to be on top of you guys.
Oh, wow.
EW.
Well, I'm continuing to fight my way towards the car.
Okay.
Have at you. Now the penalty dice, is it?
Yeah.
3. And the penalty dice is 41. So it's 41.
It's 41.
I only get like 3s when I've got a penalty dice.
Is a 41 a success in brawl, or I don't know what your brawl is?
It is, yes. I am assuming it is. I've decided that my brawl was 50.
Okay. All right, that seems reasonable. All right, so you manage to knock him out of the way as he lunges at you. And you are now probably 20 feet from the car.
Next to me, who's...
Yeah, you're jumping over Morgan, under Marty, who's lying on the ground.
Well, I have the keys, so he's better jump away from me.
The kid is kind of trying to beat on your back as you're lying on the ground, Marty.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do?
Can I, like, how heavy is this kid? I'm just gonna...
He's a kid. He's probably 12.
I don't care what the heck he does. I mean, if he's gonna bite me, he's gonna bite me. And I'm just gonna rush of adrenaline, just push.
Okay.
Scramble up and just get the car.
All right. Just do a dex roll.
$100. I really want to push this, but
You roll. Do you want to push it? I'll tell you now, if you fail to push, he's going to latch down on your neck. Because that's what he's aiming to do at this point.
I mean, you've already got 100 anyway.
I already got 100. I mean, oh my word. Okay.
Now, if you don't, he's just going to grapple with you at the moment. I mean, you're not going to get away. If you succeed, I'll let you get away.
I'm not gonna push it.
Okay. All right. So what happens is you try to push him off, and what you end up doing is flipping over, so that. But he's scrambled. He's still kind of on top of you, but now you're face to face. Archie.
So what's my status? I've got him clinging to my wrist.
Yeah, and he's snapping at your face.
Well, I've still got to try to shake him off then. is he clinging so tightly that I can't shake him off? Am I going to have to hit him, or
You got to
can I maybe just
try to shake him off.
Okay, shaking
That's
him
what
off
the
it is
roll's
then.
for. Yeah.
That's just brawl. All right.
Yeah.
99.
And he got a 93, so you don't manage to shake him off, but he doesn't manage to do anything to you in the process.
Now, can I be moving while he's hanging from my arm, or is he too heavy?
No, he's not that heavy, but
Well, then I should be moving in the car direction.
okay, you're
not
trying to
standing
drag.
around.
You're trying to
Right.
drag in that direction. I assume you all are.
Yeah.
So
So how
Jim,
close am I, anyway?
you're still about 50 feet away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get to the car as fast as I possibly can.
Okay. At this point, one of the adults is upon you, so he's going to try and grab you and pull you away from the kids.
Okay.
And you can do whatever you want in this case.
Okay, I'm just rolling dex to evade, so I got a hard success.
Okay. So one of the adults tries to reach for you and grab a hold of your clothes, and you manage to pull out of his hands.
Mm.
And you can see him sort of push the kids away, but not in a violent manner, just sort of pushing them back. And there are more adults that'll be here in just a moment. But Marty,
All right.
did I skip EW?
I believe you did, yes.
All right, go ahead,
Help me.
EW.
My conscience has got the best of me, and seeing Marty, who is frankly the only one of these people I actually have any time for, being attacked by this thing, I'm going to introduce it to my boot.
Okay.
And I'm going to attempt to kick the thing that's attacking him square in the rib cage.
Okay.
And I've got a 97.
You know, we keep rolling very similar rolls. I got a 99. So you swing your foot, and it you don't connect, but it doesn't connect with you either.
So I basically
Is
just
off
did
of
a
me?
high leg kick.
Yeah.
This one. Ta-da!
So you're flailing your arms and you're kicking your legs.
I'm actually windmilling now. I'm actually properly, like, I believe that I'm at the 7 seconds gig now.
All right, Marty.
Did it get him off trying to dodge getting kicked?
For him,
The little
what? I'm sorry. EW, were you trying to kick the one that was on Marty?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. It rolled off to keep from getting kicked.
all right, I'm gonna get to the car.
Okay. Let's say you get to the car. Okay. So you are now at the door of the car, which is locked, and you have to unlock the door. And EW, you're right behind him.
I should hope so.
I would like Marty and EW to do luck rolls.
Come on.
Um,
I passed.
Daddy needs a new pair of shoes.
Passed.
I've got 12.
Okay. Marty, you manage to get the door open, and you get inside and slam the door behind you. EW, you manage to get in the back seat on the driver's side and slam the door behind you. Archie and Jim, within a second, you guys are overwhelmed because the adults have all gotten here. They grab you and restrain you. But the adults are moving towards the car as well. And in the next round, they'll have surrounded the car.
Well, I'm driving away.
Okay, so you're starting the engine.
Yeah.
Okay. As you start the engine, the people get to the car and they try to open the doors and they try to get you out. You've locked the doors, I assume.
And I don't care if somebody's in front of my tires or I'm just...
And there are a couple of them in front of you.
Yeah, I'm just...
Okay.
Fear has taken over.
Okay, as the way I see it is, I'm going to have you do a luck roll. No, I'm going to have you do a luck roll, and this is simply to control the car. And because it's 8:55,
I got a 91, so no.
Oh, that's not good.
You don't want us to get away. You should have just let us drive away.
So let's say that you try to pull out. You try to avoid hitting people, but you do hit some people, and then you promptly crash right into the corner of the hotel as you attempt to come around the corner, and the car is overwhelmed, and almost immediately the windows are smashed, and you guys are dragged out of the car.
Unhand me, sir. Unhand me.
We'll just say that they're rather violent towards you. So when you come to, you are in the church, and they are all, it looks like at some point in the history of it had been a Catholic church. But there's no crosses, and there is an altar, and there are no statues of saints or anything, except there is a big statue of the Virgin Mary, which has been moved to the center of the altar, and it has been painted. And the way that it's been painted so that it has large gopher-like looking teeth and eyes on the sides of its head instead of in the front. It looks like a fucking prairie dog, the way that they've painted the statue. And you guys are all tied up, and they are all reciting some kind of a prayer. It's in English. They're praying to the Earth Mother, the one who has given them prosperity, and they're praying for salvation at this point from this horrible thing that's come down upon them, this what's going to happen in the valley. Now,
am I gagged?
Yeah, you're all gagged. To wrap it all up, because we should wrap it up at this point. We've gone 3 hours. They keep you tied up, and they continually pray. You notice now the definite resemblance. Everybody, the older they are, the less they look, the more they look human. The younger they are, the more they look like prairie dogs. Even some of the children have fur, a light blonde, sort of tawny colored fur on their skin. There's lots of them. They're all in families. They're all huddled together as they say their prayers. And on day 6, the National Guard shows up. The National Guard is composed mostly of people who didn't want to be taken in the draft, so they're not very good military. They keep you more or less a secret at first, but the military, the people absolutely refuse to go. They drive the National Guard out of the valley and continue to pray, and on the 7th day, the flood comes and kills you all. And that's the way we'll end the story. So, long time ago, they had made a pact with Shub-Niggurath. And because of what they were doing, because of their prayers and so forth, they were genetically being altered, and they were slowly becoming very much like prairie dogs. They call themselves the children of the earth, and they worship her as the lady of the earth. And that was what your vision kind of was. And you weren't actually buried in the ground. You were prairie dogs. That's also why they all stay in the basement, because they sleep underground and they all huddle together in little bundles of people under the ground. And they were prairie dog people. All right. Any questions other than that?
Why did my dice betray me? You're so close.
Why didn't Shep Nigraf save them from the flood?
She doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an elder god. She doesn't care about them. It's just one of those things. Yeah. One would wonder why one prays to these things. So where is our players included Mick Swan, Morgan Llewellyn, George Sieg, and Ken Trench, with myself as Keeper of the Secrets. We're currently producing up to 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to become a patron, visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch that bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.